This webinar is connected to, the lot of other aspects connected to financial management. As आप सबको पता है, अभी सारे भारत में अभी फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन, फाइनेंशियल एजुकेशन, फाइनेंशियल डेवलपमेंट के बारे में ज्यादा क्या बोलते हैं एफर्ट हो रहा है। उसके हिसाब से हम लोग ये प्रोग्राम कर रहे हैं। इसलिए बोर्ड ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज एंड एकेडमिक पार्टनरशिप से बोर्ड ऑफ इंडस्ट्रीज एंड एकेडमिक पार्टनरशिप, my dear friends, please remember that this webinar is connected to the Krisha Foundation, the BSE. As you all know that BSE is the stock exchange in India, and another stock exchange we have NSE, National Stock Exchange. You all well aware. Now, these stock exchanges are governed by Securities Exchange Board of India. So that is why, being students of the prestigious institution, because you study in the prestige institution like a royal group of institutions, but you must know that what kind of a context we need to look into when we talk about all these aspects, which is very pertinent in our day-to-day life. So that is why I'm telling you, all of you, that you need to understand that what is efficiency, why we have to look into these aspects in order to take it forward. So that is the reason I am here to explain you why we needed to understand that understand the important aspect of financial management, which is a very important aspect to be covered. So that is why I'm here today to discuss about further on that. My dear friends, please remember that when we talk about it, these are the very important aspects we need to cover. आप सबको पता है, हम लोग पूंजी बाजार के बारे में हम लोग बोल रहे हैं, हम लोग वित्त के बारे में बोल रहे हैं, हम लोग निवेश के बारे में बोल रहे हैं। ये सब all this information हम सबको चाहिए। सो बीइंग स्टूडेंट्स ऑफ टॉप इंस्टीट्यूशंस, हम सबको इसके बारे में पता होना चाहिए। सो दैट इज व्हाई आई एम हियर टू एक्सप्लेन यू सम ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट्स व्हिच इज रिलेटेड टू स्पेशली इंट्रोडक्शन टू द सेबी। प्राइमरी मार्केट का मतलब क्या है, प्राइमरी मार्केट फिर सेकेंडरी मार्केट का डिफरेंस क्या है, फिर प्री रिक्विजिट क्या होना चाहिए मार्केट में एंट्री होने के लिए, हाउ टू अप्लाई इन द पब्लिक इशू के बारे में बोल रहा हूँ, राइट्स इशू के राइट्स ऑफ द शेयर होल्डर्स के बारे में भी बोल रहा है। So one question to all of you, I don't know how many of you are able to answer this. Do you know who are the richest people in the world today? And in Indian context also, if you look at, there are people who are connected directly and indirectly to the development and growth of India. See, when you see this particular list, you can see only Mukesh Ambani over here. You can make out with the total, what we call it as asset of $84.18. When you compare to the other people, other parts of the world, we have somebody here to take care of it. So that is why, my dear friends, please understand and remember that in order to hold a very good asset in our life, what we need to understand is ownership of the business plus or something else, or ownership of the business is actually reflected in the number of shares one owns, which is very, very relevant and very, very particular. And we students have to understand that what is the development of that. क्यों हम लोग उसके बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा और सोचना चाहिए, फिर हम लोग के क्या क्या करना चाहिए उस तरफ में, क्या बोलते हैं, फाइनेंस के बारे में, वित्त के बारे में सोचने के समय में। हम वित्त के बारे में बोले तो हम लोगों को क्या मिलता है यहाँ पे कि वित्त, फाइनेंस इज, शेयर मार्केट इज नथिंग बट इट इज एक्चुअली व्हाट यू कॉल इट एज, इट इज नथिंग बट a chess board. It's like a chess board, because when the chess board is like this, we can see there are 64 squares in the chess board. These 64 squares, if each square is worth rupee 1, what, in order to buy this square, in order to buy this share, you need to have some kind of a potentiality in you, because you have to understand that what is the efficiency, how you need to categorize all these avenues in order to get it forward. So that is why, my dear friends, if somebody, that's why Warren Buffett, आप सबको Warren Buffett के बारे में पता होगा। Warren Buffett क्या बोलते हैं कि don't save what is left after spending, instead you spend what is left after saving. Please remember, you have to first focus on the saving than the spending. Focus on the saving. बचत के बारे में पहले सोचना पड़ेगा हम लोगों को, फिर उसके बाद में हम लोग स्पेंडिंग के बारे में, फिर सारा क्या बोलते हैं, हमारा पास में पैसे होगा तो हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, दूसरे तरफ में हम लोग तरह से हम लोग पैसे खर्च कर सकते हैं। इसलिए वॉरेन बफेट का ये गोल्डन रोल होता है ना, वो बहुत अच्छा गोल्डन रोल है। हम सब गोल्डन रूल को फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. इसलिए he says don't save what left after spending, instead you spend what is left after saving. My dear friends, when we talk about how do you buy shares, how are you going to buy shares? There are different avenues of buying shares. It is directly through the capital market or through a mutual fund. हम कैपिटल मार्केट में बाई होने के समय में प्राइमरी मार्केट में होता है, सेकेंडरी मार्केट में होता है, फिर उसके साथ ही में क्या होता है कि हम लोग को लमसम भी एसआईपी इन्वेस्टमेंट के बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा. इसलिए and SIP lump sum, as I told you, but it is a one-time investment. But the SIP is actually the regular. It can be a monthly installment. What happened?
Your voice is not clear, sir.
Voice is not clear. Is it clear now? Am I audible to you? Am I audible to
Yes,
you?
sir.
Now? Yes? Okay, thank you much. Thank you very much. So, when we are talking about the primary market, okay, आप सबको पता प्राइमरी का मार्केट का मतलब, there are markets which are public issue, rights issue, bonus issue, and also there is a private placement. So that is why IPO, initial public offer. आप लोगों को क्या बोलते हैं, स्लाइड मूव हो रहा है ना, अभी स्लाइड दिख रहा है ना आप लोगों को, स्लाइड दिख रहा है ना?
Yes, sir.
अभी और क्या आपको प्राइमरी मार्केट का स्लाइड दिख रहा है?
Yes, sir.
ओके ओके, क्लियर. स्लाइड नहीं हुआ तो आप मुझे बता दीजिए. ओके, मेरा वॉइस भी अच्छा है ना? अभी वॉइस आपको सुनाई देते हैं ना मेरा वॉइस?
यस सर, यस सर.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. ओके, अब अभी आप इश्यू के बारे में सोचेंगे तो when you are talking about issues, my dear friends, when you wanted to buy some kind of a share, these issues you have to be very very particular. We call it as a public issue. There is a rights issue. There is a bonus issue. There is also a private placement, my dear friends. So these private placements also there. This is also part and parcel of everybody's what we call it as a willingness to occupy. So that is why please remember that these issues also playing a huge role. When we talk about the market control, you know that who regulates the capital market? Who are the people who are regulating the capital market? In this case, we can see Securities Exchange Board of India there, Association of Mutual Fund of India there, Bombay Stock Exchange there, National Stock Exchange there. So these are the agencies who can control the complete structure of the stock exchange. But whenever there is a control, what people have to understand and see that whatever the shares they bought, whatever the things they contributed towards the development of their money, there are 2-3 things they have to understand. क्या होगा? एक प्रोटेक्शन करना है. इन्वेस्टर्स क्या बोलते हैं? इन्वेस्टर्स क्या करते हैं कि वो अब उनका फंड डोनेट करते हैं, वो फंड पार्क करते हैं इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए. इसलिए हम लोग बीइंग एन इन्वेस्टर, what you call it as protection, we have to protect their funds. At the same time, हम लोग उन लोगों को क्या देना है कि कैपिटल एप्रिसिएशन देना है, हम लोगों को मनी को एप्रिशिएट करना है, फिर उसके साथ ही में हम लोग रेगुलेट भी करना है. रेगुलेशन भी अच्छी तरह से होना चाहिए. इसलिए प्रोटेक्शन देना है, डेवलपमेंट करना है उनको मनी को, फिर उसके साथ ही में हम लोग रेगुलेट भी अच्छे से, रेगुलेट कौन करते हैं? रेगुलेट सेबी करते हैं, सिक्योरिटीज एक्सचेंज बोर्ड ऑफ इंडिया करते हैं. इसलिए मेजर वर्क डन बाय द सेबी, क्या क्या मेजर वर्क होता है सेबी में? इंप्रूवमेंट इन द मार्केट डिजाइन एंड आल्सो द रेगुलेशन एक वर्क होता है. फिर उसके साथ ही में इंक्रीज इन एफिशिएंट एंड आल्सो द ट्रांसपेरेंसी मार्केट, एंड देन देयर इज आल्सो अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ द सफिशिएंट फंड. These are the very important aspects people have to look into when they talk about these markets especially. So that is why an account to hold your securities and also to account to say what you call it as a trade your securities. So these are the avenues on which something else has to happen, and these provisions have to come into force. So whenever we talk about great importance, the great opportunities available everywhere. That is why, my dear friends, please remember these are the avenues on which if you check towards, if you know that okay, yes, this is possible, that is possible. That is a major avenue on which people have to check and people have to know that what is the condition on which everything has to happen. So that is why in that direction, if you look at people have to know that whenever they're investing, they have to see to that the investment should be with the good management, that should be with the growing profit, that should be with the what we call it as a healthy balance sheet. And there should be a kind of an avenue which has to be taught throughout of the people's lives, and then they have to understand that these things to be managed with the well direction without issuing any kind of a problem, any kind of an issue. So they have to understand this. That's why you have to take a professional help from people. It can be through the stockbroker, it can be through the mutual fund distributor, it can be through the registered investment advisor. Anything is possible, provided they have to have a clear will and vision, and then they have to get a complete structure of these developments from these people. So that is why, my dear friends, all of you being students, you must understand that yes, this is an avenue and this is how we have to think and we have to contribute towards the development. So that is why whenever we talk about the general attributes of stocks, we must know that there is a condition on which you all have to think about. Yeah, so that is the important aspect. All of you must have to understand. When we talk about the avenues in connecting the people around, especially these things are playing a huge role today, because the students, I don't know how many of you are into investment, and what made you, what gets you into investment, what is the category of investments you make, and how, I don't know how many of you started as in fact, yeah. Yes, so that he has to think about. And now I will explain you what are the major attributes of investment, especially when it comes to the mutual fund and other things. So whether it is feasible and possible, or what way it is possible connecting to these mutual fund avenues, all are well, particularly it is mentioned as a connectivity which is actually divided into different categories. Because as you know, whenever people wanted to talk about mutual fund investments, we have to see that how efficiently we have to answer. And I was talking about the very important aspect connected to about what is that mutual fund. See, I'll tell you, my dear friends, this mutual fund is an important avenue. Why mutual fund we have to look into the mutual fund today? Because mutual fund, which is actually a kind of a fund where people like you can invest and definitely make some small amount of what you call it as the benefit out of it. Because that is why these days there are opportunities available, like we call it as a systematic investment plan. We also call it as there is a lump sum plans and all that. Because I don't know, because it's called as a BSc Star Mutual Fund. That is actually preferred mode to what you call it as a transact mutual funds, because which is a very pertinent and very important product throughout. So the mutual fund products are always, people generally, whenever they are into, people who are into mutual funds, they will say that we will definitely contribute, will definitely give you some minimum return. So that minimum you can expect from us. So this is what generally the mutual fund distributors, the mutual fund agencies, they will tell. That's why the BSc Star Mutual Fund, उनको हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं कि digital impact and also the evolution. In this context, if you see, my dear friend, the transaction done in the physical mode, especially we call it as a KYC, transaction financial, and then there is a complaint or a grievance, and then there is a client service, we call it as a statement. This is also available there. वो सब हम लोगों को दिखते हैं, इसलिए इलेक्ट्रॉनिक केवाईसी का प्रोसेस भी आपको पता होगा। अभी सब लोग अभी बैंक का अपडेट्स करने के लिए और केवाईसी नॉर्म्स को अपडेट करने के लिए वो लोग क्या करते हैं कि वो फिजिकल पैरामीटर में ये सब एवेन्यूज को जारी करके वो लोग क्या करते हैं, बैंक में इन्वेस्ट करते हैं। सो इसलिए क्या बोलते हैं कि फिजिकल इसमें, इसलिए नो, दैट इज व्हाई then we will have to understand that and we will have to know that there is a greater opportunity. So that is always you have to then understand there is an opportunity which is available for you to remember and understand. So that is why, my dear friends, you have to remember that. You have to understand that there is a great opportunity for you to You go for a small investment every month. It can be 100 or a 200 or a 300, any kind of an investment which is available all over. Otherwise, what we can do is we needed to what you call it is a continuously save some money, and out of the money whatever is being saved, that money, if you wanted to get into, especially if you wanted to know about, especially that's what we call it as a lump sum. If you want to invest, that is also possible. The lump sum investment is also a possibility which you can always get into in the mutual fund avenue. So that is why this is a simple process of having the what you call it as a process fund which is available all over, and then there is a condition on why there is always you have to remember and understand that there is a great opportunity which is available all over. So that is why people like you, when you got to know about these funds which are typically connected to the what you call it as a return, and that return is always in a what you call it as a kind of a return which is we become students like you can definitely get some benefit out of it. So that is why these funds, because this if you talk about these mutual funds, and it is all over, even in the mobiles also you can open, and anywhere you can open these funds at any point of time, and you can use the potentiality of building the mutual fund event. So that is also always possible. So let's look at now recent developments, my dear friends. And we need to see what are the recent developments in the market today. Because why people have to look into the recent developments in the market, why there is a condition, okay, people have to say that there is a recent development, and they have to understand that these recent developments are helping everyone into the structure, because that is actually making everybody to get into the avenue of the stocks today, because that is what is mandatory. Because generally when we talk about the derivative, commodities, forex, even some of you may be knowing about what we call it as is a system called as a cryptocurrency, right? Everybody is aware there is a system called as a cryptocurrency. These cryptocurrencies also helping you guys to know that, okay, these cryptocurrencies are always helping everybody to invest, and also people like you, when you invest in the cryptocurrency, you may know that how it is benefited and what way it is getting benefited. And students like students, why they are continuously investing in the cryptocurrency, because it's a public ledger, public distribution ledger, and through this ledger people can earn a lot of money out of it. So that's why another important aspect you need to know, all of you need to know, is the derivative. Derivative is what? A derivative is a financial product whose value is derived from the value of some other variable in the financial market. When now the price of the underlying charges is value, or is actually that is derivative also changes. So that is why in this case, derivative is not a product. It is actually a contract that delivers its value on changes in the price of the underlying. The example for derivative is actually the value of good future contract is derived from the value of the underlying asset. So that is why it is actually called as a, because see, the jewelry, whatever the production we do in the through the gold, which is derived from a system called as a gold asset, is actually called as a gold. You can see this example. Through this example, you can make out of there are contracts like there is a, when you want to buy, there is a long which is actually 10. When you want to sell, it is 12. The difference is 2, which is a profit. On the other side, you can see the long is 14, the short is 10, the difference is loss is 4. On the other side, if you see the long is 12, the short is 14, that means the difference is 2, which is actually the profit. So this is why day 1, if you buy, it is actually around how much it will come? Around 10. Day 2, it is actually around 12, and day 3 is actually around 14. So this is how markets generally makes in the future and options market, F&O market, it's a derivative market. Generally, it is happening when you buy, it is for the lesser, when you sell, it is for the more. That means the difference would be your profit or a margin, we call it as. That is why you need to know how potentially, how efficiently people have to get into these markets in order to make sure that these markets products are really helping because it's contributing a lot. Because derivative is such a contract where the lot size is bought, but in the cash market, what will happen? You can buy 110 shares also, but in the derivative market, it is size, one lot size can be 1 Nifty, or one lot size of Nifty, one lot size of a Sensex. So that is also possible, because this is how generally the contract can be involved, contract can be known to the people. And there are also options. We call it as options. Options means what? The contract that gives the holder the right and to buy the specified quantity of the underlying asset, the particular what you call price or an order. It is actually specified a time period. So that is why you have to remember that the word option means that the holder has the right but not the obligation. The holder has a complete right. But underlying asset. On the other side, before a particular date, by paying a premium. So that is why on the other side, put option gives the buyer, the holder, the right, but not the obligation to sell, or to call it as a view of the underlying asset. So give
Your voice is not clear, sir.
which are given. There are a lot which what is the major avenue on which how it works towards the development of the people over. So that is why everybody who want to get into the market structure, you may be knowing that okay, this is the opportunity for you, especially students like you, to know. I want to tell you that this is a structure of mutual fund or a structure of other revenues which is actually popular in terms of developing all what you call it as financial aspects of the students like you, especially the students like you. So that you need to now look into why this is so eminent, because how the bullish market and bearish market works. See, especially bullish means what? The price of the stock may go high. When the price of the stock may go high, people are going to buy, what you call it as a buy. When the price of the stock goes down, people are going to sell. So that is a major difference between buy and sell. That is a major important. And then some of the websites you can take a screenshot of this. You can take a screenshot of this whenever you feel like you can get into this and you can access this. So with this, I'm just completing my session.